Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, Episode 10B. Yeah, this was completely unplanned. Those of you probably think, okay, why in the world would 2 episodes in a row of this very series be split in half? Same reason. The same exact reason. I got interrupted because dinner was ready. That was the only reason why. Alright? Yeah, now to resume talking about this particular season. Yeah, the Shaky Restaurant stuff, well, I like some of the aspects of this particular one, and plus, this is probably the only episode of the whole, into probably the whole series where you have Richard Moore being a competent detective. He gets everything right except for one thing: who the culprit is. Yeah, it's actually now suspected it was the chef and the wife of the victim, but no, it was actually the waitress. Yeah, and it turns out she's actually the daughter of his late girlfriend from an island he visited years prior to the events of the series. And yeah, her reasoning for this is kind of silly, but it's just an okay filler. Mostly I like the whole and the whole thing with flowers. I thought that was kind of interesting how they did it. hmm Fearful of the Snowy Legend of Night. Yeah, this one involved there was actually 2 murders in this two-parter. Yep, an old man and his eldest son. Yep, they're the ones who committed the crimes. Yeah, and here's kind of the thing, or this is Japan. Apparently, this man's quarters is where the place he sleeps is separate from the main house and another place, and he sleeps by himself. From what I've heard, this is basically how the culture of Japan is, where husband and wife sleep in separate rooms. Which, to me, anyways, does not make much sense because, well, wouldn't that also deteriorate the marriage? It wouldn't it be better if they slept in the same room? It probably would have worked, but this is Japan. So I'm not going to criticize them of how their culture is when it comes to husbands and wives. Of how couples have their sleeping arrangements. Yeah, and the guy's wife apparently is obsessed with the old 500-year-old spirit. Yeah, this I thought the whole aspect of the spirit thing I thought was the most interesting thing part of the episode of this two-parter, and the culprit turned out to be the maid, somebody no one suspected being the culprit, and yeah, all because she's a daughter of somebody that because her father was forced to commit suicide with this other guy. Okay, fine, whatever. But yeah, the spirit is the most interesting about it. And then we come to the only 2 episodes of the whole season, a double mystery. Yep. Fall return of Harley and Katja. Yeah, Harley actually returns another episode of the season. I'll get that one. That's probably one of the best episodes of the whole season. Yeah, this one I thought was quite interesting to have. It's kind of like this was probably initially 2 separate cases. They decided to make it into 2 episodes, or at least a 2 hour one, but it was quite interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't want to spoil much. They find the culprits pretty easily. Yeah, one involved murder at a castle. The other one involved what was the other one? I forgot. Oh yeah, a kendo tournament. Yeah, Haji Harley tried to solve the case before Conan got there. He did. Yep, and this did happen in manga. Yep. Ah, the courtroom battle. Yep. This is probably by far first of several, because I looked up. Apparently, this is also going to happen some more times in the series of Richard Moore in a courtroom. Yeah, and apparently the prosecutor really wanted to send this guy to prison, and it turns out yeah, and of course Richard does a whole sleeping detective thing, which he's famous for. Yeah, because Conan decided to knock him unconscious with his tranquilizer, something he frequently is known for doing. And yeah, apparently this is acceptable. But I'm thinking though, how in the world can the microphone on this particular witness stand pick up what the heck the guy is saying? Because, well, the person talking is standing right behind him. There may be one or two things. Maybe the way the voice modulator works, it just, looks like the way that is. But yeah. But it was quite interesting when, of course, and the whole reason why he's here is because, he witnessed the person who actually who was accused of committing the murder. Yeah. And it turns out he was covering up for his former wife, who he's no longer living with. Yeah, this is kind of similar to what happened with Richard and Ari, his strange wife. Yeah, it looked like at the end of the two-part, looked like they might hook back up together, but nope. That went completely nowhere because he started hitting a younger woman. I'm like, dude, you have a wife who's in her late 30s. You're married to a woman who's in her late 30s, and she looks great for her age. Take her to dinner, man. What is your problem? Why is your obsession with going after young women, even though you have a beautiful wife? Yeah, no wonder why she left you. Yeah, she would have left you for this and probably your dumb drinking and the fact you probably refused to work. That could be it. The truth behind Valentine. Yeah, I actually initially thought this was kind of like a filler episode, but no, it is actually canon. Yeah, believe it or not, it is indeed canon. Yeah, it involved like a murder. Yeah, the murder involved like a reporter who got killed, and it was something about videotape. Yeah, it was quite interesting, and it was all over like this particular. And of course, there was actually two dogs. One's apparently died, but nope, the other one's basically been alive the whole time, guarding this. And turns out the woman who actually was in charge of this inn that they go to, yeah, believe it or not, she's actually the second wife of the original owner. Because the first wife died. Yep, she died. And yeah, and it turns out the person who actually killed this guy were actually the two hunters staying at the lodge. Yeah, and they're also one caused an avalanche. Yeah, and this is stretched out to 3 episodes. Okay, I don't really know why they stretched out 3 episodes for, but I kind of thought with this particular 3 episode thing, you could easily cut it down to at least 2. Yeah, it was completely unnecessary to stretch out the 3. Next comes the forgotten memento from the crime. Yeah, this one involving like a stolen watch, but this one I thought was quite interesting. Yeah, and the murder victim is a landlady who tried to get money out of this guy, and apparently he's in debt. Yeah, he's trying to sell off his apartment. And second murder of the season, where the person is killed by a flower pot. Yep. I'm like, okay, what happened in a filler episode? They won't happen in a canon episode. Did the writers of the series forget the fact that this is like, excuse me, this type of murder happened twice? Apparently, but yeah. I found the whole watch aspect quite interesting. Now, Richard Moore initially turned it down because, well, looking for his late wife's watch. And the junior detective was like, okay, we'll help you for free. Because they don't generally charge. Because they probably get money from their parents anyways via allowance. Though Conan himself, aka Jimmy Kudo, was rich. Because his parents, well, his father is a well-known mystery writer, and his mother is an actress. A beautiful actress, mind you, looks still great for her age. Yep. This I found a pretty interesting one. Yep. And has an appearance by the epic agent Akai, the guy with the black cap. Yeah, he returned this one, even though he just appeared last time in the Man from Chicago. It's a really good one. The Secret Rushed Omission. Yeah, this one involved like expected like a gaming one, and it turns out the person who killed this guy killed it looked like a middle of a mall, and it turns out it's actually this mall is part of an office building, which I'm like, that is kind of weird. Why in the world would you have a company in a building that has a mall? You know, as I suspect this is a mall because it's an escalator. I mean, generally office buildings don't usually have escalators in them. They have stairs and an elevator, not an escalator. The only place that has an escalator that I could personally think of is an airport terminal, not an office building. This honestly makes no damn sense. The fact they would have, I'm sure there probably is some office buildings, but the ones I've been to, buildings that actually have escalators, have just been airport terminals and malls. That is it. But the way this looked, it looked like an office building that had a mall in it. It could also be a hotel. But who knows? And it also involved like a embezzling case, and the very victim was a PI. Oh yeah, this is one of the few times we use a canon episode, and Richard Moore is nowhere to be seen. He's got mild reference. Oh yeah, and this return of Judy Stantamilli, aka Judy Starling. And there is a comment about her chest in later episode. And of course, Harley doesn't point the fact that she is smoking hot. I will get to her in a minute, but man, interesting little two-parter. I gotta admit, yeah. All involving X, stuff like that, yeah. But this was actually a really good two-parter. Old Lady Quiz Case. Yeah, this one was not that much interesting. Odd thing enough about this episode, I had to go to another site to get the right subbing. Because one thing that drew me off from this thing was the wrong name for the Junior Detective League. Now, in the sub, they're referred to as Detective Boys. In the sub, I was watching, they referred to them as the Youth Detective League. I'm like, no, that's not their name. At all. It's like the person who did this sub really did not know. It's like he forgot this group's name, or he thought that the group's name was the Youth Detective League. This is the second time, basically, this has happened to me when I'm watching a series and they give the correct, for the sub, they give the incorrect name, so I have to go to a different site to get the correct one. Yeah, this happened twice now. Last time was a two-parter that happened, I think back in season 9, involving the Pagoda stuff. Yeah, that's basically for that one. This was an okay one. I didn't really care for it. Truth about the haunted house. Boy, this particular one. A two-part canon episode that was kind of boring. Oh yeah, here's the thing about this place. Okay, we apparently have what looks like a boarding house that looks like it looked awful. I mean, there was stuff on the walls, the bathroom looked disgusting. Oh yeah, and apparently the toilet water turns red. Yeah, this has turned out to be some chemical that the person who caused all this did that. And oh yeah, there was this thing of this ghost appearing in the window. Yeah, it was all a bunch of moths. Yep. Oh, and the TV screen thing, they had this thing which kind of looked like some rip-off of The Ring. Yeah, turns out this was actually just somebody using a VCR to go on people's TVs. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the person behind all this was one of the two people involved in a murder that happened 4 years prior to the events of the series, where two guys did nothing. Two guys killed a woman by burning her to death. Yeah. Oh, and here's something weird about this particular building. There's no women living here. Yeah, and apparently there was only about few people living in this building, and their rooms are tiny. They look like an actual bedroom. I mean, who would want to live in a garbage place like this? It looks awful. Like, it looks bad. Who would live here? Yes. I would think the landlord would fix the place up, but there's no mention of a landlord at all. Just people living in these various rooms. One is a college student, the other is a film age. Apparently, they all shot a film at this place, which makes it the second time in the series where the murderer is also a filmmaker. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, the moth thing. That's actually caused by a net that's sprayed with female moth stuff. And that's what causes the whole ghost to look. The way it looks, it kind of looks like a projection of kind of like the character Zsasz from Marvel Comics. That's what it kind of looks like to me. Oh yeah, and apparently this guy also chloroformed the whole entire building by putting this chemical in this window, and this caused the whole building to fall asleep. Yes. This is by far, for a canon episode, because usually canon episodes are very interesting. This one I found to be so boring. Yeah, I felt so bored watching this. This is probably far the most boringest canon episode I've watched so far. And would I recommend watching it? Up to you if you like this. Now, I have no problem with haunted house stuff. That's fine. But in an apartment building that looks like it probably had been built in the last 20 years? Oh yeah, and they claim the ghost was the burn victim. Seriously? It's so damn stupid. Oh, and how they make the thing disappear? Opening up the window. Yeah, that's what causes the ghost in the window to disappear. Is by opening up the window. Oh yeah, and also Richard kept getting moths on him. Yeah, it turns out because he actually touched the screen that was on that, which caused these moths to go there. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it turns out the other guy they were looking for, he was over in the building under construction the whole time. I'm like, did the police never bother to look over there? Apparently not. Oh yeah, make this place haunted so the police won't look here. Yeah, dumb. Case of the missing policeman's notebook. This one I found quite interesting, though this one also involved two people, which apparently now Takagi had misplaced his notebook and they spent the whole episode looking for it. They found it. Turns out the manager had it the whole time, and this singer, yeah, it turns out he was trying to kill him. And of course, the guy got arrested, and McGuire's upset, like, oh, you must be feeling bad from your fever. Yeah, it turns out he took a sick day just looking for missing notebook. Okay, couldn't you tell your boss that you misplaced your notebook and you want to go look for it? Couldn't do that? Nope. Yeah. The whole looking for notebook thing, that found me a more interesting thing. The other stuff, which is pointless. Yep, pointless. English teacher for the Great Western Detective. Yeah, the first meeting of Harley and Jody Santamillion. Yeah, this will be revealed to be somebody else later. Yeah, her real last name. Yeah, and when they go visit her, yeah, this I found more interesting. Okay, like Harley asks like, how can English teacher afford this place? And it's explained by Conan. Apparently, her parents are rich. That's why they would afford this place. And they go up to see her, and of course they want to talk to her about something. Of course they get back for a visit. Apparently she was in a bath, and she came out, and she comes out in a bathrobe. And you see part of her chest. Of course they comment later in the end of the two-parter that she looks nothing like Chris Vanyard, which they suspect she might be her. But they both got big breasts. Yeah. Of course there's no comment about the fact that she's smoking hot. Yeah, and one thing I've noticed about this woman, ever since she first started, it kind of reminds me of Nico Robin from One Piece. A woman who would actually obey someone who's actually younger than she is, with no question at all. And apparently she trusts him. Now, as far as I've read in the manga, they do reveal later about her being an FBI agent. But, yeah, as for why she trusts Conan, possibly due to the fact he's a very good detective. Oh yeah, and she calls him Cool Kid as nickname. Yeah. But it was actually the most interesting thing about this episode was Harley meeting Jody for the first time. And as far as I could tell, this is the only time they've ever met, because I don't think they ever met each other again in the rest of the whole series. And here's kind of the thing. The way McGuire was put, like, okay, you're actually one of three people I keep seeing at crime scenes. You alone is like, I think, okay, this woman is one of few people I keep frequently seeing at murder sites. Along with Richard Moore, Conan, and Rachel. Yeah, Richard's in this episode, but he does nothing. Yep. But a very interesting little two-parter. Yeah. Hooligan in the Labyrinth. This was a weird one. Yeah, this one is also adapted from the manga as well. Yeah. This involved a soccer game. Yeah, about a renegade soccer fan getting murdered by another soccer fan. Yeah, from what I remember from the manga, this is completely the same as it was in the manga. No major change. Yeah, it turns out that the guy who was a murderer was actually where. Now, the whole thing about this episode was the soccer part was a background element. Kind of like the last time it was. Yes. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, we have it where Where was I? Oh yes, the soccer thing. Yeah, and and this rude fan apparently was known for throwing rocks, and he been kicked out of several stadiums. Apparently, he was on a blacklist as well. And this also involved Tokyo Spirits and Noir Tokyo. Okay. Oh yeah, and apparently because he joined the other team, the fans were booing him the whole game. Eventually, the team he was on won, and he got cheered. And the whole point of the boos was to basically pump him up. Yep. And he tried to run away, but that goes nowhere. Yeah, it was an interesting little two-parter. Small eyewitnesses. This one kind of interesting because you have George, Amy, and Mesco witness a murder, but they couldn't exactly tell anybody because there's a thing in the series where apparently no one believes children at all because they'll say anything. So, because in your Detective League, they want to go. Oh yeah, and also and here's something really weird. Amy's the only one who actually remembers being her detective, her badge, and the other two forget, and she misplaces hers. Though they eventually do find out where they go, and turns out this guy they witnessed a murder that couldn't tell who killed who, but yeah, it turns out the person who was killed was actually the president of a company, and the person who killed him was one of his directors. Okay. Yeah, it was all something stolen, but yeah. At least that, from what I can tell by the end, like last time when they got involved in a case, they weren't at least chastised for for keeping withholding evidence. They were chastised a little bit for supposedly wasting Richard Moore's time, but that's it. They weren't chastised by Moore, unlike last time, unlike McGuire, unlike last time they got chastised for involving a kidnapping case. This time was perfectly fine. Yeah, the episode started out with Amy running through the warehouse. Yeah. An odd one, but yeah. And this is actually, they have the following two-part, which is a more filler involving a guy getting killed in a stone garden. By the way, these are actually, I've never seen these in person, but I can tell these are traditional rock, these things are in fact real from what I've read about them. Yeah, they're perfectly real. Some people probably do have them, but I personally have seen in person a rock garden. It's this special beach-like sand with rocks on it, and apparently looks good. Yeah, it's a Japanese-style garden. The only other series I've seen this in, off the top of my head, aside from this one, was actually in an episode during Black Butler, during like the opening few episodes of the series, where the main character at his mansion, he actually has a rock garden. As far as I can tell, there's been no other series in the series that actually has had this at all. Even ones set in Japan don't usually have people showing having rock gardens very much. Not even Bleach had that. Yeah. The last two episodes, like at the beginning of the last video, these lead into the opening three-part of season 11, where Rachel suffers through a fever and she gets invited. They go to a Chinese restaurant, which apparently Rich won coupons for, and apparently they misread them, so they couldn't use them. So they got into a fit about it. And now in the manga, they actually kind of changes where Rachel actually she actually judo flipped him. In the show, she just basically held her foot up to the guy's throat. Okay, I guess it probably was more believable to do that than, let's say, judo throw a guy twice her size, even twice the size of her own father, who looks about the same size as the guy Richard Moore basically decided to flip over during the end of season 1. Yeah, and she basically meets with these movie producers, probably become an actress, and she asks about two favorite actresses, one being Sharon Valor, the other, of course, being Vivian Kudo. Even though it's a different name in the show itself, but yeah, it's Vivian Kudo. And one of the producers, one of the people who was there, actually comments, so, good choices. Yep. And of course, Rachel thinks about where did I first, she says she has met Sharon in the past. Yeah, that kind of leads into the opening. Of course, after they saw the murder, which the murder basically was very weird. It's poisoning. Apparently, happened to these little turntables. I actually have seen these in person. These tables do exist. I have seen these in person. Yeah, at a golf club I've been to, they actually have these on their tables. This little spin thing. Yeah, these things are perfectly real. So, you thinking that that I have not seen these before. I have. I've seen these things in a couple restaurants I've been to and in a golf club. Well, a country club I've seen these in. So yeah, these particular tables are real. I have seen these. Yeah. And he killed them by touching poison underneath the table, which is like, okay, that's a little weird. But probably the best thing about this episode was leading to the flashback, which it's kind of explained at the start of the next part. It takes place not long after the Jimmy's first case. You're part of the events of the series. Yeah, it takes place like not long after that. Yeah, but the flashback, of course, the ending of the episode has Rachel collapse. Yep. And despite the fact they're actually arresting the murderer, they also meet one of the inspectors they met frequently in the show. Meet his brother. They don't say twin brother. No, they refer to him as his brother. But yeah, they're twin brothers. The only way to tell the difference between them is their hair. Yeah, the guy they meet in the show is actually looks like they say his hair is like shaved. No, it just his hair is very short. The other one's curly. Yeah. But this actually was really damn good, and they try to call an ambulance, like, okay, but he says, okay, there's a hospital nearby I know of, and I know some doctors there, get them right away. And then the episode ends with Rachel 1 year in the flashback in New York City, of all places, which makes this the third anime I've watched where it features New York City. Yep, the third. The only other two series I've seen this in was a series called Mad Bull 34. Yeah, I've watched this series. Yeah, this weird ultra-violent series involving two cops and their adventures in New York City. The other one was during an episode of Mobile Suit Fire G Gundam. That's the only two series I've seen New York City in, aside from this series. There's been no other series I've watched. Actually, wait, there is one other series, aside from those two. In JoJo Bizarre Adventure Season 3. It was Season 1 during the Battle Tenacity arc, though that was set during the 30s. Present one is 11-2, but this is the third. This is actually the fourth series I've seen feature New York City, because not many series actually feature New York City at all. Because, well, anime tends to be set in Japan, either in present day, the past, or some other world that the writer of a series makes up. That's generally what anime series tend to do a lot of the time. JoJo Adventures, I know that one's one of the very few actually goes all over the place. Yeah, some set UK, Italy, some set one's actually in Japan, but yeah, not much for New York City though. But yeah, fourth series I've seen this in, but it's always good to see New York City in an anime, especially since I've actually been there. Yes, I've been to New York City. Last time I was there was actually 2 years ago. Oh yeah, and they also mentioned the episode they're going over like the Manhattan Bridge. Yeah, of course, I mentioned this at the opening of the next episode, first episode of season 11. Man, good season, but yeah. So overall, there's only like kind of a couple really unnecessary episodes. The Haunted House canon one, this could easily just be ignored. I mean, it doesn't really advance the plot of the series, aside from the fact that you know that Rachel is afraid of ghosts. Yeah, it's a completely pointless case. Yeah, completely pointless. Yeah. And two okay filler episodes. Yeah. So it's a slight step down from last season, but it is 10th season of the show. Yep. Though I still think it was kind of weird that the first half of the season is stuffed with a lot of filler episodes. Not much for canon episodes, but a lot of filler episodes. And next season, which is season 11, that's only about one episode less than this season that just wrapped up. Yep. So yeah, that's particularly it for this particular review. Yeah, this is the only thing I was planning on reviewing today anyways. I have no other videos planned for today. There's no anime coming out today. I mean, I would think Fairy Tail, but I might save it for tomorrow anyways. But I have like nothing else. I have no comic corners, nothing. This is the only thing I plan to do today. Okay? But until you see in tomorrow's videos, which I'm only planning like 2 videos tomorrow. Maybe 3 if I get season 11 done. Yeah, the only 2 videos I definitely plan on doing tomorrow is Fairy Tail and Black Clover. And that's it. No 7 Deadly Sins because it's taking a week off. Simple as that, okay? But to use the next few. Bye.